Hello, my name is Trey Townsley. I'm with KLT Group, and this presentation's on flood damage resistant materials for CM 7250 hazard resistant construction. What is flood damage resistant materials? Well, the National Flood Insurance Program defines flood damage resistant material as any building product capable of withstanding direct and prolonged contact with floodwaters without sustaining significant damage. The term prolonged contact refers to 72 hours of contact with floodwaters, and significant damage means that the damage sustained from the floodwaters requires no more than cosmetic repairs, which is painting, sanding, sanitizing, wiping down walls, floors, repairing joints, things of that nature. The NFIP regulations for flood resistant materials are found in the U.S. Code of Federal Regulations, Title 44, Section 60.3. Now that states that any community shall review all permit applications to determine whether proposed building sites will be reasonably safe from flooding. If a proposed building site is in a flood-prone area, all new construction and substantial improvements shall be constructed with flood-resistant materials. And why use flood damage resistant materials? Because you don't want to protect your home like this. Most people's homes are their most valuable assets, and that's where their most personal and valuable belongings are located. Utilizing flood damage resistant materials can prevent significant damage to your home in case of a flood event. It also can be more cost effective to use these building materials rather than materials that are not built to sustain substantial damage from water. It might cost a little bit more up front, but you're not going to be doing the major repairs that will follow after a flood event. It also will be cheaper on flood insurance and will help if a flood event does happen of getting payment from insurance company if you did utilize flood damage resistant materials. Requirements of flood damage resistant materials: any portion of elevated buildings that lie below the minimum elevation as shown in table 2.5 on the left for coastal high hazard areas and coastal A zones must be constructed with materials capable of resisting damage, erosion, and decay from floodwaters.
Hi, I'm Liz Ellis with the KLT Group. Let's go over some of the types of construction materials that we talk about in our report. We have three types: structural, finishings, and MEP. Structural materials are the ones that support the integrity of the structure, the home, the building. We have finishings that do not support the structure itself, but are also very important when you're dealing with materials and below a BFE level. And then also we have MEP, which stands for mechanical, electrical, plumbing. These type of materials are not flood resistant. However, they are allowed below the BFE level and are usually covered by insurance policies. Some of the structural damage resistant materials that we have discussed and has went over in this report is brick, concrete, masonry units. You see a picture of that there. Also concrete, cast in place or precast concrete as well. There's different types of gypsum board that can be used: interior, exterior, non-paper face. Is really helpful for a home in a flood region. On this slide, we are looking at a cement siding board. In this example is Hardy plank shingles and panels. It's water resistant material. It's also termite resistant, which is very helpful in the South. But also, when looking at different aspects of the home, you want to look at your windows, your doors, garage doors. You want to look for corrosion resistant metal or coating. And you also want to look for the same for your windows, or either a vinyl window that also has a strong windproof to it. Here we're looking at some finishes inside of a home. As you notice, you have a water resistant insulation. you may end up pulling the insulation, but it does allow for the walls of the home to dry through, as opposed to traditional insulation, paperback insulation that holds that moisture in and is a conducive environment for mold to grow. Luxury vinyl plank is a 100% proof material, waterproof, and you can pull and replace. It's awesome.
My name is Kofi Azome. I will continue with the types of flood damage resistant materials. Fasteners and connectors are screws, bolts, clips, hurricane straps, anchor bolts, and nuts. When used under the BFE, must be made of flood damage resistant material in order to comply with the NFIP requirements. If corrosion occurs on fasteners and connectors, the buildings are less likely to withstand flood loads and other loads. It is highly recommended to use corrosion resistant or flood damage resistant material used in conjunction with the preservative treated wood. The type of corrosion treatment available are stainless steel, hot dip, zinc galvanized, zinc coated galvanized, silicone, bronze, and copper. But what happens if flood damage resistant materials are not used? The buildings are not protected against flood-borne contaminants such as chemicals and sewer. This can cause easy growth of mold in walls and floor decks, hence result in exposure of health hazard to occupants. Contamination can result in extensive cleanups as well as escalating repair costs. In some cases, repair may not be possible. The takeaway of this presentation on flood damage resistant material are the following. All material used under the BFE must be acceptable NFIP Class 4 and Class 5 material. Acceptable flood damage resistant material such as structural finish, MEP, especially connectors and fasteners. The benefit of using acceptable flood damage resistant material are low cost insurance, cost effective during cleanups, property protection after flood, building occupant health well-being. This is the list of the references used for the presentation. Thank you very much.